Hey guys, today we're going to talk about accent marks in French. So usually an accent mark will go over a vowel. Those are letters like A, E, I, O, and U. One of our accent marks can go on a consonant. We'll see that in a little bit. So the first accent we'll talk about is accent aigu. It means sharp accent. And it looks like this. It goes from the bottom left and points up to the right. It only ever goes over an E, like this. And it makes the E sound like A. So we have clé, étudiant, passé, clé, étudiant, passé. It's important to note that when E is the last letter of a word and it has no accent aigu, we don't pronounce it. We don't pronounce the E. So here are some examples of that. Pomme, onze, treize. Pomme, onze, treize. We don't say pomme, onze, treize. That does not exist in French. Pomme, onze, treize. No accent aigu. We don't say the E. The next accent mark we'll talk about is the cédille or cedilla. It only goes on the letter C and it makes it sound like an S. So where the C might look like it should be pronounced like a K, the cedilla makes it sound like an S. The cedilla looks like a little hook, like this, and it hangs down from the C. So here we have leçon, ça, garçon, leçon, ça, garçon. The next accent mark is called the tréma, and it looks like two little dots, like this. It'll go over an I or an E, and it tells us to pronounce a vowel separately from the one before it. Haïti, Noël, haïr. Haïti, Noël, haïr. The next two accent marks don't really change pronunciation all that much in French. We have the accent grave, and that goes from the top left and points down to the bottom right. So it's opposite the accent aigu that points up and to the right. So with the accent grave, there's really no sound change. Here we have mère, and then we have mère. They're both pronounced the same. One has an accent grave, the other doesn't. Sometimes accent grave is used to differentiate two words with similar spellings. So here we have a, and then we have a. They both sound the same, but they mean different things, so the French decided to add an accent mark to one so that you'd be sure of which one you were using. The same thing here, ou and ou. They both sound the same. The accent doesn't change pronunciation, but it differentiates between these two words that mean different things. And the last accent mark also doesn't really change pronunciation in French. It's called the accent circonflexe. It means bent over accent, and it looks like this. It's like a little hat. Over an O, it does change the pronunciation a little bit. It makes the O sound like O, whereas sometimes O can sound like in French, like in the word pomme, which means apple. Here we want our O to sound like O, so we use the accent circonflexe, like in the word hôpital or hôtel. Sometimes it also has to do with the fact that in an older spelling of the word, there used to be an S. So you can see that here in the word hôpital. It looks like hospital, which is what that word means. Pardon the motorcycle in the background. So sometimes the accent circonflexe is just there as a part of an older spelling of a word. Sometimes it makes no sound change and also can differentiate between two words like our accent grave did. So here below we have du and du. They both sound the same, they're both spelled the same, but they mean different things. And so the French decided to add an accent mark to one of them to differentiate them from each other. So those are our 5 accent marks in French. Let's go over them again. We have the accent aigu, goes from the bottom left, pointing up to the top right. And that makes E sound like E. We have the cédille. It's a little hook that hangs off the bottom of our C. And that makes the C sound like an S. We have the tréma, 2 little dots. That makes a vowel sound separate from the one next to it, like in the word Noël. We have our accent grave, which goes from the top left and points down to the bottom right. And that really doesn't have any pronunciation change. And then we have our accent circonflexe. It makes our O's sound like O, but then otherwise it really doesn't have much of an effect on the way that we pronounce our words. So hopefully that was a little bit of an introduction into how to use and understand French accent marks. If you have any questions at all, please let me know.